What's up, everybody out there, all Glencoe fans? I'm Will Wilson, your staff reporter for the Glencoe Grand Prix. Also, you can find me on our blog at glencoegrandprix.com/blog. We also have a Twitter handle that's Glencoe GP, and our Facebook page is Glencoe Grand Prix. Tonight, I've got the privilege of interviewing Boo Bicycles owner and founder, Nick Frey. Nick, how you doing? Thanks for joining us.
I'm good. Yeah. Just having some dinner, having a beer, hard training ride today, so life is good.
Great, man. Great. You're going to be traveling a lot coming up in the next couple of weeks here?
Yeah. I fly out tomorrow to Philadelphia, and I'm going to race Battenkill this coming weekend, and then go to California to race Sea Otter, and then actually go back out east to teach a class at Princeton, and then have like 5 days back home, and then I'm on the road again some more.
Oh, terrific. Well, a traveling man. I'm sure that's what, I'm sure you guys are used to that, though, in this sport. Everyone's always traveling around, whether sometimes they're in the U.S. and, then a week later they're overseas. Yeah. First off, I just wanted to ask you, can you tell us a little bit about how you started your company? It has to help knowing both ends of the spectrum, being a cyclist and, being a business owner, being an entrepreneur. It has to help, you because you probably know what riders want in a bicycle.
Yeah, I think that's why we've gotten a lot of recognition pretty quickly for a new company, because, I know how many, I've ridden different bikes last year, I need to ride, and what some of the best in the world feel like when you're racing them. And so, that's one of the reasons, like, our bikes have come so far in the last 3 years. But it's definitely funny coming from, like, the professional bike racing side, and now being on both sides. I see the industry side, and I see how they kind of say, oh, this, Tom Boonen is riding this bike, and it's the best in the world, and, it has nothing to do with, like, that he thinks it's actually the best bike, and he, like, got to pick it. It's just, you get kind of jaded by the sponsorship and marketing side of it. And so what I'm trying to do with Boo is work with companies that I really actually believe in. And so all of my product sponsors, I think they're actually the best on the market, and I don't have to go with them. So it's totally up to me. I get to basically ride whatever I think is the best. And I think that's pretty unique in the elite cycling world, because most sponsorship is just whoever's willing to give you the most free stuff. So I think that, having an authentic message about that is really important.
Definitely. And, what made you choose, to create these bikes out of bamboo? And, how do you convince the other riders that, bamboo is strong and reliable?
That's what I'm doing this season. My goal is to convince people just by showing it, by getting good results on the bikes at the hardest races in the country. The idea behind the bamboo bike originally was inspired by Calfee Design, and, it was a Princeton engineering project, and a few buddies and I got together and just said, hey, this would be a great open-ended design project. And then it was way more successful than we thought it would ever be. And I ended up taking, some of what I learned at school, and mostly stuff that I've learned throughout years and years of racing bikes, and just decided to start a company doing these bikes. But rather than selling them as kind of a green alternative bike, I recognize that they're actually really good performance bikes. You can have a really stiff, fast bike that accelerates well, but it still rides beautifully. Most of the bikes I've raced on in the last 6 or 7 years, since the advent of carbon fiber taking over, they're just overly stiff. They're so stiff that they're really quite uncomfortable to even train on. And, it's like if you had to eat all of your food using a scalpel instead of a steak knife. It's like nice for when you need the scalpel, but most of the time you don't. And so my goal is to make a racing bike that rides not like a racing bike. And then the fact that it's bamboo, that it's custom. I mean, there's just many other obvious selling points and advantages and good stuff about it, but that's the main goal. So
it's definitely very unique. And, you said that, you and your buddies, you never thought it would come this far. Where did you guys, how did you guys exactly start? And, where did you, maybe get some funding for this?
Well, it's funny. It started out as a project at Princeton, and a good professor of mine sat us down and said that he was going to fund it. And this was actually a different company. And for a lot of different reasons, it didn't really work out. But I knew that we had something there. What we do now is just not even, it has almost nothing in common with what we did back then when it was a school project. But I just knew there was a way for me to make a company selling high-end custom bikes out of bamboo. And so when I started partnering with James Wolfe in Vietnam, that was really what made everything possible. I have the engineering and the design and the vision, but I don't have the hands to actually do it the way he does. And his artwork and craftsmanship and heart and soul that goes into every bike is just, that's what makes a Boo a Boo.
And was he someone who reached out to you, or did you reach out to him?
He did. March 4th of 2008, he sent me an email, and so yeah, we just celebrate our 4-year anniversary, so to speak. And it was just an email, kind of reaching out and saying he was an admirer and had seen what we had done at Princeton, and just was curious if he could make the frames for us. And that's who I ended up partnering with after I graduated.
That's great. That's great. And it's great how all that came together, and with something where you never thought it would go as far as it did. And, you guys were able to just, it seems like you guys are just continuing to grow year in and year out.
Well, our first carbon fiber jointed prototype frame was just terrible. It was like a whip. I could barely ride it. If I stood up and sprinted on it, it would actually shift gears because it was such a wet noodle. And it was horrifying because I graduated, like I didn't have a job. I was, planning on starting this company. I'm racing my bike, but I'm not getting paid anything to do it. And so it was horrifying. I thought, there's nothing here. Like, the bamboo is just not good enough to make a race bike out of. And we did a lot of changes. I mean, we totally changed all the carbon layup. We did a lot of testing on different bamboo species and different treatments. Just tons of R&D, and really just totally changed what we had been doing before and made an actual racing level bike. And later that year, I graduated in 2009, and in November of 2009, I won the Vuelta Miami on it, and it was the first bike race I'd ever done on a Boo. And, as anyone that actually races knows, it's not really the bike that wins the race. That has almost nothing to do with it. But it did prove that it was like a race-level bike. And so that was a huge milestone. But, even looking back on that, it was just, less than 3 years ago. And it's like we're doing totally different stuff now.
If we can shift gears for just a minute, from talking about the bikes, you've ridden at Glencoe Grand Prix for the past, 2 years. What can you tell us about the course? Some of the difficulties, what you like about it, what makes it a unique course?
Well, John News designed an incredible course, and he actually was kind of in contact with me back when they were trying to figure out what the specifics of the course layout would be. And my aunt and uncle are from Wilmette, and actually have a customer in Wilmette that lives on the same street, Dan Rudrud. And so he went out when I visited for Thanksgiving, and he took me out. Dan and I rode the course before it was actually finalized. And I must say, it is a totally different beast when you're actually racing it. It is so hard. And I can't explain exactly why. It's just the flow of the course and the way the hill, the point at which the hill comes in the course, and then the false flat that's after the hill where all the brakes go, but everyone's kind of tapped out. And it's an incredibly hard race. And it replaced Downers Grove as the U.S. Pro Crit Championship course. And Downers Grove, if you were to just ride it without being in the race, you'd think that was a really hard course. And it was actually quite easy to just sit in at that race. And that's why that race always ended in a big field sprint. And all the sprinters knew that you just basically sat in the entire race and just did circles. And then with like 5 laps to go, kind of like picked your head up and was like, okay, it's time to race. Glencoe is totally different, like very, very aggressive. It rewards people that are just relentlessly attacking. Brakes go, and then they get caught, and things reform, and then other counter moves go, and last year, it was a small field, but, there are a lot of good guys. Brad Huff was there, and Ken Hansen, and Jeremy Powers, and Eric Young, and, my team had the Barajo brothers, and, it was a pretty solid quality field, and we all got done with that race and could barely talk for like an hour. We were just like, it was like 2 hours of just riding at threshold the entire time, just beating each other over the head, doing attacks right and left. And so the course is fascinating to watch from a perspective of a fan, on the sideline.
Yeah, and speaking of the fans, what do you remember about the overall crowd in Glencoe, all the fans, and what makes it a unique race location right there in Glencoe?
It was awesome. Well, it's got a really, really cool neighborhood feel to it. I grew up in the Midwest. I'm from Des Moines, and all of the races in the Midwest just have great family audience. Everyone brings their kids at the park. Just there's something to do at all times, before, during, and after the race. And so people come with their kids, and their kids enjoy watching the race. But, if they get bored with that, there's 15 other things to do. And it just feels like a really nice, cozy, quiet environment. It's not like a downtown city criterium that's hard to park and inaccessible. And, that's one of the reasons I love the Midwest. You just get people that come out and enjoy it. And usually the crowds are some of the best I've seen in the whole calendar.
Yeah, and we're excited about it. Everybody's excited about it. We're going to have a great lineup again this year. A lot of riders, a few new faces. We're excited about having you coming and representing yourself and Boo Bicycles. For the fans that are going to be seeing this on our website, our blog, our Twitter page, our Facebook page, where can they find more information about you, Boo Bicycles, and your whole tour this year?
Well, honestly, if you just Google Boo Bicycles, you'll get more information than you can possibly shake a stick at. But if you go to our website, boobicycles.com, that's good. We've got a pretty cool Facebook page that gets updated a lot more. That has all of our new race results, all of our photos, just a lot of better interaction goes on the Facebook site. So, it's just Facebook.com/Boo Bicycles, Twitter.com/Boo Bicycles. Just type Boo Bicycles in. You'll get a lot of stuff.
All right, thanks, Nick. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us, and we're excited. We're excited to see you in Glencoe June 2nd.
Oh, William, third time's the charm.
Take care, Nick.